All right, let's talk about something that's running quietly in the background of our entire digital lives, the security audit. This is the formal, super rigorous way that companies prove to us and to themselves that they're actually worthy of our trust. So, how's it really done? Let's dive in.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Every single day, we're handing over our personal data without a second thought. But you see the headlines, right? Data breaches, cyber threats, it's constant. So how does any company, from your bank to that random app you just downloaded, actually prove they're keeping your stuff safe? It's a huge, huge question.
Well, it turns out trust isn't just a marketing slogan. It's not just a promise. In the world of cybersecurity, it has to be proven with evidence. And that proof, it comes from a really formal process that we can think of as a trust test. The pros call it a security assessment or an audit.
So what exactly is this ultimate trust test? Let's be clear, this is not just some casual checkup. We're talking about a deeply structured, high-stakes evaluation that happens for very specific reasons.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition, but let's break it down. A security assessment is a formal evaluation of a company's security and privacy controls. This doesn't just happen on a whim. It's usually timed for a really critical moment, like right before a brand new system is about to be launched, or when a company needs to prove to the whole world that it meets a certain industry standard.
So why would any company voluntarily put themselves through such a tough process? Well, the reasons usually fall into two main buckets. Are they doing it for an internal checkup, kind of like a self-improvement project? Or are they doing it to prove something to outsiders?
And this lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the internal checkup. This is all about the organization looking in the mirror. The goal was to get better, to manage its own risk, and they often use really detailed guides like the NIST risk management framework to do it. But on the other side, it's all about public proof. This is for you, me, the customers, the regulators. This is where something like an ISO certification comes into play. It's like a globally recognized badge that shouts, "Hey, you can trust us."
Now, an audit is only as good as the people who are actually conducting it. That means putting together the right inspection team is maybe one of the most critical steps in this whole thing.
And at the very top of that pyramid, you've got a key role called the authorizing official, or AO. Just think of this person as the ultimate decision maker. This is a senior leader, someone with the power to look at all the findings and say, "Yep, I accept the remaining risk. This system can go live." The entire audit is really being done for them.
So the team that this authorizing official relies on must have two totally non-negotiable traits. First, they need serious technical expertise. They have to know the systems inside and out. But second, and this is just as important, is independence. They've got to be completely free from any conflict of interest that could even possibly influence their findings. The results have to be pure.
And to really drive home how crucial that independence is, check this out. For a major certification like ISO, the auditor can't be someone from inside the company. It has to be an external third-party organization. That completely removes any doubt about whether the results are biased.
You can't just show up and start poking around. A credible audit, a real one, is built on a super detailed plan. It's like a blueprint that everyone agrees on before any of the real work actually begins.
So the very first piece of that blueprint is defining the objective. You have to answer the question, why are we doing this? Are we trying to get that ISO certification we talked about? Are we just trying to figure out the risk of a new product we're about to launch? That single goal drives everything else.
Once you know your why, you got to define the what. That's the scope. It basically draws a clear line in the sand. It says, okay, we're looking at these systems, these processes, and these people. And, just as importantly, it says what's not being reviewed. This keeps everything focused and stops the project from spiraling out of control.
So, with the why and what figured out, the blueprint then gets into the nitty-gritty logistics, the project management stuff. Who do we need? What tools do they need? When are we going to do this so we don't disrupt the whole company? And what exactly will that final report look like? It's all planned out.
And this is not just some informal email chain, okay? This blueprint is a formal document. It gets reviewed and literally signed off on by all the key players, including that big-shot authorizing official. This makes sure everybody is 100% on the same page before a single test is run.
Okay, the plan is locked and loaded. So how do the assessors actually go out and gather the evidence? Well, they've got a core set of methods they use. It's like their own special toolkit for digging up the facts.
And that toolkit really comes down to three main techniques. First, they examine.
This means they get their reading glasses on and pore over all the documents, the official policies, the procedures, the system security plans. Second, they interview. They actually go talk to the people who run the systems every day to see if what's on paper matches reality. And third, they test. This is the fun part. They actively poke and prod the security controls, maybe run a vulnerability scan or send a fake phishing email to see if they really work when it counts.
And they use these three methods, examine, interview, and test, on what are called assessment objects. Now that sounds super technical, right? But it's just a fancy way of saying the stuff being reviewed. We're talking about the actual policy documents, the servers, the firewalls, the software code, and yep, even the people themselves. It's the whole shebang.
So, when you put all of that together, the plan, the team, the methods, you start to see the really crucial point. A security audit isn't about passing a test, like in school. It's about methodically, carefully building a solid body of evidence to support a final decision about risk.
And that right there is why this is so much more than just a checklist. A good audit doesn't just point out problems. It identifies what it calls nonconformities, and then helps create a formal action plan to fix them. You see this in highly regulated fields like banking. It gives companies a repeatable way to measure how mature their security program is. It totally changes the game from a one-time chore to a cycle of always getting better.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. From the moment you check your bank account on your phone to every website you browse, how much of our digital safety, our digital life, depends entirely on the integrity of these trust tests, on them being planned right, run correctly, and acted on, all completely behind the scenes. It really is the hidden framework of the digital world we trust every day.